Welcome to 100 Yards of Football this morning. I'm your host, Vincent Turner. And today, I'm going to break down the NFL team preview of the 2021 Philadelphia Eagles. So if you like the video today, please come in and share it, and we'll surely appreciate it here at 100 Yards of Football. So let's get started on this glorious morning here on 100 Yards of Football. Man, when you think about the Philadelphia Eagles, you think about the city of Philadelphia, man. And I would say this about the Eagles. Their fan base is one of the best fan bases across the country. See, a lot of people don't know that I'm broadcasting the show live from Metro Atlanta, and I live in Douglasville, Georgia. So I work in Metro Atlanta, and I tell you, one of my greatest jewels during the week is that I'm a guy. My job is I'm a delivery guy, and I deliver papers for a company by the name of the Atlanta Voice. And on a Friday, around about 11 o'clock, I go on Martin Luther King Boulevard, which is kind of down near the downtown section in Metro Atlanta. And the barber shop is called Philly's Finest. And they are some of the diehardest Philadelphia Eagle fans that you ever want to know. The owner is Mr. Claire. His sidekick is Mr. Jock. Much love to the Eagles Nation, because every time I go in there Friday, it's an explosion. And them gentlemen know all about the Philadelphia Eagles history. Another thing about Philadelphia, before I get into their football team today, when I was growing up, the thing you thought about Philadelphia was music. You think about the OJs. You think about Billy Paul. My favorite musician of all time, Teddy Pendergrass, Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, Hall and Oates. Then you think about Will Smith, one of the best actors out there in Hollywood, Bradley Cooper. And you know what? All of them love that Eagles Nation, the Philadelphia Eagles. Then think about the great history of this organization. Go back to 60, one of the greatest linebackers that ever played, Chuck Bennock. Then you think about Tommy McDonald on that 60 championship team. Then you think about Norm Van Brocklin. Then, even though this team didn't win the Super Bowl, excuse me, give me a little water here. You think about that 80 team that was special with Ron Jaworski, Jerry Sizemore, Charlie Smith, 6'9" Harold Carmichael out of Southern University. Oh, my God. Ronell Young, who I saw play at Alcorn State. Richard Blackman, the great Herm Edwards, Wilbur Montgomery. That was a special football team. Now let's roll the Rolodex. And one more thing about the musicians. Don't let me leave out Phyllis Hyman and Jill Scott. Philadelphia is special as a city. And then the great ones, Sylvester Stallone and Rocky. So let's get to the 2021 Philadelphia Eagles. New head coach Nick Sirianni. A guy that's coming in. The Eagles have a lot of repairing on the offensive side of the ball. I thought last year Carson Wentz didn't get a fair shake. They decided to trade him in the offseason because the Philadelphia Eagles offensive line was banged up. And when you look at Carson Wentz, his last 2 years, I know a lot of people pounded him in the meeting in Philadelphia, but who did he have at the wide receiver position? That's right. So Carson Wentz has moved on to the Indianapolis Colts. Now, that second-year guy from Roll Tide, the University of Alabama, Jalen Hurts, it's your show. Pressure is on you, baby. But there's a concern I have about Jalen Hurts. He was only a 52% passer in the games he started. Granted, he's got great legs. He rushed for 359 yards last year. He had 6 touchdowns from INTs. But in the National Football League, man, you got to be able to throw the football. That is a very concern to me. And I'm not trying to bang the young man here this morning, but that's the facts. He's only a 52% passer. So that's a lot of pressure is going to be on him with a new head coach. But if Jalen Hurts plays at a level like he did at times at the University of Alabama, I'm sure the Eagles offense is going to be very fine because they got a very good running back in Miles Sanders out of Penn State. I love him a lot. 867 yards last year, averaged a little bit, but 3.9 yards a carry. But Remember this, the offensive line was banged up. But when you look at Miles Sanders at the running back position, help is on its way. Help is on its way. There's something coming down from the 901. His name is Kenny Gainwell out of the University of Memphis, my hometown. You know what Mr. Gainwell did in his career at Memphis? 1,557 yards rushing last year in his career because he opted out last year, didn't play in 2020. But the young man also has got great hands as a back coming out of the backfield. 66 receptions in his time at the University of Memphis. And you know what else he's got? He's got what I call that Terry Metcalf factor. Fast, quick, and catch the ball out of the backfield. Now, this is where the Eagles, offensively, if they're going to help Jalen Hurts improve on this 52 completion rate he had last year, the receiving position has got to step up. Last year, Jalen Rager, up and down as a rookie. That's all right. 31 receptions, over 500-some yards last year. But another thing that's really concerning me, there was nobody else that stepped up to the wide receiver position. John Hightower, our Boise State, you was quiet. Quiz Watkins out of Southern Mississippi, you was quiet. You can't have that. Dallas Goldberg, you was quiet at certain times last year in the season. But Jalen Hurts, if I can say this about you this morning, you've been very blessed, brother. You was able to get a guy that you played with at the University of Alabama, Roll Tide, Devontae Smith. I don't have to say no more about him. 3,900 yards receiving, Heisman Trophy winner, 46 touchdowns, set an SEC record at the receiving position. Might be the greatest receiver that ever stepped on the field in the SEC. He's coming, and it's very important that Jalen Hurts and Devontae Smith get on the page real quick. Because when I look at it, think about this key statistic. Last year, as a collective group, the Philadelphia Eagles receiving group only had 2,084 yards. As a group, Devontae Smith last season at the University of Alabama had almost 1,900 yards. Boy, that's crazy to me. And that's why it's real important that Jalen Hurts and Devontae Smith get on the page real quick. The offensive line had a lot of injuries last year. There's no question about it. But if they stay healthy this year, the Eagles are going to be a good offensive line. Jason Kelce is one of the best centers in the game. He's elite. Brandon Brooks is coming back off a serious Achilles heel injury. When he's on this game, he's elite. I don't have to say nothing more about Lance Johnson out of Boomer Sooner, University of Oklahoma. When he's on fire, it's no better guard in the game. But listen to this name where help is on its way. Rookie Landon Dickerson. If he's healthy and can be able to play, that Philadelphia's offensive line is going to be real, real good next season, this upcoming season. Then you got on the defensive side of the ball. We all know the Eagles over the years have played defense. Last year, when you look at that defensive front, they still got one of the best two tackles in the game, the defensive tackle position out of Yazoo City, Mississippi, by way of Mississippi State, Fletcher Cox. Even though he might be 30 years old, he had 6.5 sacks last year. And he's still, I consider, one of the elite D tackles in the game. Then my man, Brandon Graham, out of the University of Michigan. Even though he's 33 years old, last year he had 8 sacks. He could still play football. My man, Javon Hargrave, in his first year coming over from Pittsburgh, solid 4.5 sacks. Then Josh Sweat out of Florida State. This is for you, Bobby Butler. He had 6 sacks last year. So the Eagles' D-line is going to be very strong. And my bad, they picked up Ryan Kerrigan from Washington, who was a great football player, Pro Bowler over there with the Washington football team. Then I'm going to go into the secondary. Darius Slay, when he's on top of his game, he's going to be one of the top 3 corners in the game. But last year, I'm going to be flatly honest, Darius Slay, you allowed almost 70% completion rate on you. Your game took a step back. You're a better football player, man. So if you step your game up, the secondary is going to be pretty stout. Avon Maddox, even though a lot of people are saying you 5'9", about 180 pounds, but I like you, man. I think you're a good football player. Yes, you do struggle a little bit, and I know the Eagles fan base is on you. But when it's all said and done, you're a warrior, man. Warriors, come out to play. That kid is a good football player. Then y'all was able to bring over Anthony Harris. Very strong football player over there when he played with the Minnesota Vikings. One of the most top, I consider, in the free agent market. Top free agent defensive backs out there. This is a young man 2 years ago led the league in interceptions from the safety position. He is a real good football player. So when you look at this Philadelphia Eagles football team, to me, they're going to be pretty strong defensively. They still got some stalwarts over there. Darius Slay, Pro Bowler. Fletcher Cox at the top of his game. Brandon Graham, one of the best that ever done it. Ryan Kerrigan coming over from the Washington football team. The Eagles are going to be very fine defensively. And let me say this about their linebacker position. They picked up a pretty good, strong football player out of Minnesota, Eric Wilson, who stepped in for Anthony Barr last year and had over 128 tackles. So I think the Eagles, as I'm talking about their defense, is going to be pretty strong now. But for the Eagles to really step up and be a force in the NFC East and improve as a football team, it's all about the young man out of Texas by way of the University of Alabama, Jalen Hurts. He has to play well coming up in this coming season. He has to throw the football better. 52 completion rate percentage is not going to get it done in the National Football League. Though I think he can develop into a pretty good football player, no doubt about it at the quarterback position, because he's got two guys I think is going to really help. Devontae Smith is going to be a guy that's going to help him out a lot. A very productive football player, and no doubt about it, he was the best football player in 2020 in college football. That's why he won the Heisman Trophy. And Kenny Gainwell, I think, coming out of my hometown, the 901 University of Memphis, can be that Brian Westbrook to Jalen Hurts or that Darren Sproles. So that being said, the Eagles, middle of the road football team, but it's all about Jalen Hurts. If Jalen Hurts play at a level and becomes more, I think, of a 60 to 65% passer, I think the Eagles are going to be a very dangerous football team, because that's what they do in Philly. No matter who's the head coach, no matter over the course of time, this football team has always been strong in the National Football League. And as I said, defense has always been their hat that they hang it on. Think about it. When they had Buddy Ryan, they had the great Reggie White. They had the late, great Jerome Brown. They had Seth Joyner. They had Eric Allen. They had Andre Harris. And as I mentioned, Herm Edwards, Jerry Robinson, Ronell Young. This is a football team that I do not go disrespect here today on 100 Yards Football. They've been a thorn in the NFC East side of my favorite team, the Dallas Cowboys, but Eagles Nation, they're going to be ready to play football this season, and it's all on their quarterback, Mr. Jalen Hurts. So, that being said, my final words about the Philadelphia Eagles this morning here on 100 Yards of Football. It's just like something like the great Harold Melvin in the Blue Notes. You downhearted and you confused because, baby, you've been starting to lose. Jalen Hurts, take them words real seriously, because my man Harold Melvin the Blue Notes set the tone for Philly, along with Julius Erving, along with the Philadelphia Phillies, Mike Smith, Pete Rose, Steve Carton. Philly is a great sports town. And the Philadelphia Eagles of the 2021 National Football League, y'all got to set the tone. So if you like the video today, please comment and share it here on 100 Yards of Football. I'm your host, Vincent Turner. And before I leave, I want to give out kudos to my producer this morning. He's from Douglasville, Georgia. My man, Mr. Logan Landers, the youngest member of 100 Yards of Football. So y'all be blessed here on 100 Yards of Football.